of entrepreneurship, the subject is business studies. So our topic is entrepreneurship. Business studies. And the topic is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. And so today is 25th. If, my dear student, you can recall, in the previous lesson, we started the topic of entrepreneurship, and we dealt with the various objectives, and today we are going to proceed from where we left. In this topic of entrepreneurship, we need to know about the definition of entrepreneurship, which we dealt with, entrepreneurship definition. Then we also dealt with the entrepreneur. Then from there, as we said, entrepreneurship is the process of identifying a business opportunity and acquiring necessary resources to start and run a successful business. The person who is starting the business is called the entrepreneur, and we dealt with various qualities of an entrepreneur. Then from there, we saying that for you to start a business, you must come up with a business idea, and that is what we call a thought about a business that can be started, a thought about a business that can be started, and we dealt with a business idea. And we dealt with various sources of business idea, which we say some of them is newspapers, journals, television, hobbies, talents, and so on and so forth. Then after that, we said, after you've come up with the business idea, which is a thought about a business that you can operate or run, you need to go to the market and identify a business opportunity. Get to the market and try to search for a gap that exists in the market. And therefore, we dealt with something else we call business opportunity. Business opportunity. And we said business opportunity is a favorable chance about a business that can be operated. But we said after you've realized there is a chance in the market, there is a gap in the market. For instance, you have realized that they are selling goods at high prices. What do you need to do? You need to come and sell goods at affordable prices. That is one of the gaps that we dealt with. Now, after you have realized that there is an opportunity that you can run a business, maybe of operating a school, you need to evaluate that business opportunity. Before even you venture to the business, you must evaluate a business opportunity, and therefore we dealt with evaluating a business opportunity. Evaluating business opportunity. And we're saying this is assessing whether the business is viable or not. Assessing whether the business is viable or not. And after that, we're saying that there are two considerations that you must consider when assessing whether the business is viable or not. And we're saying we have personal consideration. Personal consideration. And in personal consideration is just a review. We're saying that you need to consider the skills. We need to consider the skills. We need to consider commitment. We also need to consider the objectives. The objectives. What do you need to achieve in the business? And also the interest. The interest of the entrepreneur. So those were some of the personal considerations that you need to consider as you assess whether the business is viable or not. Then this personal consideration, we're saying that these are internal factors that affect the entrepreneur himself. Does he have the skills? Is he committed to the business? Does he has interest to that business? Does he has, what is the main objective of trying to start that particular business? Then we're saying the second thing you need to consider is business consideration. Business consideration. And under business consideration, we dealt with the government policy, availability of market, availability of resources, adequate finance. So all those is what we dealt with. Now, you have evaluated a business opportunity. You have assessed the business opportunity and realized that this business opportunity is viable. viability of a business means that when you start that business, you are assured that the business is going to succeed. Now, after you have identified a business opportunity, you don't just start a business. You must plan. Planning is essential to one starting a business. For instance, you cannot just, giving an example, you cannot just see a girl and marry that girl without planning marriage. You must plan marriage. You've heard of planning marriage so that you know that this person you are going to marry is going to succeed or to have a successful family with you. As you see in this coronavirus period, there is the reopening of schools. Schools cannot reopen without planning. That's why people are planning. There is a document that is written by the government towards the reopening of schools. The same applies to business. You cannot just start a business without planning. Planning is very essential. And that brings us to our next subtopic, which is a business plan. So today we are going to deal with the business plan. Business plan. And a business plan is a document. A business plan is a document, highlighting the objectives of the business. The objective of the business. So, a document highlighting the objective of the business. What do you need to achieve in the process of running that business? You must lay down the objectives in a document, write them in a document. And this document is very essential before starting the business because the content of the business, what are the content of the business plan? What are the content of the business plan? Or what is contained in a business plan? What is contained in a business plan? One is name of the business. Name of the business. So in that document, you write the name of the business. 2, types of employees required. So you need to highlight the name of the business. For instance, you want to start a private secondary school. What is the name that you are going to give that private secondary school? So you must come up with the name of the business and write it in that particular business plan. So for instance, you've identified that the name that you need to call the school is Gons Children High School. So that means that you have to write it in the document that you are calling the business plan. Types of employees required. You need to know the types of teachers that you are going to employ. If you are starting a private secondary school, you need to know the type of employees that you require, the non-teaching staff. You need to highlight what type of the employees do I require and how many employees do I require. You write that in the document called the business plan. You also need to know the amount of finance required. Amount of finance required. How much money do you require to start the business that you want to start? You want to start a private secondary school. How much money do you need to start that private school? You need classes, you need desks, you need books. So you must first of all plan on how much do I need for me to start this particular business. So that amount of finance that is required to start and run that particular business is still contained in what we are calling the business plan. You also need to know the personnel to manage the business. Personnel to manage the business. So if you are starting, for instance, a supermarket, you need to know who is going to manage the supermarket, who is going to manage this supermarket, who is going to be the deputy manager, who is going to assist in the management. And when considering the personnel to manage the business, you must consider their skills and their knowledge. Is it a person who has adequate skill in the process of managing that particular business? You also need to know product to be sold. Product to be sold. Product to be sold. Still in the business plan, you highlight the product that you are going to sell. Are you starting a supermarket? You need to sell wheat flour, you need to sell maize flour, you need to sell a variety of goods. So that those goods that you want to sell, they must be highlighted in the document that you are calling the business plan. You also need to know the market to be served. Market to be served. Most people will confuse market to open air market, like the market in Royal that is always there on Saturday or Wednesdays. That is not what we call the market. Market simply refers to the customers. So market to be served, these are the customers that you are going to sell the goods that you are selling to. For instance, I like giving examples so that, my dear student, you can understand. For instance, you want to start a school. What kind of student do you want to enroll in your private school that you are starting? What is your target market? Who are you going to serve? Who are going to buy your product if you are starting a supermarket? So that market to be served is needed to be highlighted in the business plan. And finally, you have the summary. Summary of the plan. Summary of the plan. Now, summary of the plan is a summary of everything that you have highlighted in a business plan. And my dear student, let me tell you, when you are learning the topic of entrepreneurship, don't learn it with only the objective of achieving a good grade in KCSE. If you learn entrepreneurship or any topic in business studies with an intention of starting and running a successful business, then you'll get to understand better. It will be more interesting. Now, you keep yourself in the shoes of the entrepreneur. I'm now teaching an entrepreneur, a future entrepreneur who needs to know, what do I need to start the business? I have identified a business opportunity and now it is viable. I need to prepare a business plan before I start the business. And we have highlighted the content or what is contained in that business plan. Name of the business, types of employees required, amount of finance required, personnel to manage the business, product to be sold, market to be served, and summary of the plan. Now, we have now the content of business plan. You can now prepare your own business plan having all these information. Why is it needed? Why is a business plan important to an entrepreneur who wants to start the business? So let us look at need of a business plan or the importance of a business plan. We have 7 importance of a business plan. Need of business plan. What is the need of a business plan? Why am I advising you, my dear student, future entrepreneur, to first of all draw a business plan? One is avoiding mistakes. Avoiding mistakes. So when you prepare a business plan, which is just a written document, you realize some mistakes that might have appeared to the actual business. So such mistakes are corrected still in the paperwork before you start the business. So mistakes identified in the business plan are corrected in the paperwork, in the document, before those mistakes appears in the actual business that you are running. And if you are in a position to avoid mistakes, then you'll be in a position to run a successful business. So one importance or need of a business planner is avoiding mistakes. Still in the business plan, we have said in the content of a business plan, we have amount of finance required. So another need or importance of a business plan is determining amount of finance required, to start the business, You want to start a supermarket. You need 2 million. You need to analyze what is required for me to start a supermarket. then you realize that you require 2 million. You cannot just realize with thinking without writing. That's why you write a business plan where you'll now realize that I need this amount of money to start this particular business. You want to start a private high school. You need classes, you need desk, you need books. Therefore, all that requires money. In the process of drawing a business plan, you realize that you have determined the amount of finance that is required to start your private high school. The other one, sometimes you want to start a business and you have determined the amount of the amount of finance that you require to start that business. You require 2 million to start a supermarket. But cash at hand, or the amount of money that you have in hand, is 1,500,000. So what do? Do you just say that now I'll not start the business? Do you just give up? Remember that in the previous lesson, in the qualities of an entrepreneur, we're saying that he or she must be persistent. Do not give up. You don't have enough money. Now what do? You require 2 million to start a supermarket, but you have 1,500,000. What do you need to do? You need to go and borrow money from the banks or other financial institutions. But before you borrow money from any financial institution, the first question they'll ask you, let's say you've gone to Equity Bank. What's your name? My name is Calvin. I need to start a supermarket, and I have 1,500,000. I need you to give me a loan of 500,000. The first question the bank manager will ask you is, where is your business plan? So a business plan is a requirement by financiers. Financiers are those people who give you loan, who assist you. So it is a requirement by financiers. Requirement. It is a requirement by financiers. They need to know your plan so that they decide whether to give you loan or not, depending on what is contained in your business plan. So it is a requirement by financiers. Now, you have borrowed money and you want to start the business. So you need to know how to allocate resources in your business. For example, the business of a private high school. We have resources such as exercise books, textbooks, we have the computers, we have stationaries, we have various resources in that particular business. But these resources, they are various departments. Let me give an example of a high school. You have the language department, you have the technical department, you have the humanities department, you have the science department. Can you allocate resources such as the burette or the laboratory apparatus to the English department? You'll have failed. So for you to know how to allocate resources in your business, you need a business plan. So one need of a business plan is a proper allocation of resources. For proper allocation of resources in your business. Proper allocation of resources in your business. Now, you need to have employees in your business. And these employees must be motivated. For them to work well, they must be motivated. What motivates the employees to work hard? Or what motivates the employees to make sure that they are working towards achieving the objective of the business? It is a business plan. It acts as a motivating factor. When the employee sees the business plan, your objectives are contained in the business plan, they will realize that indeed this business is going to succeed. And therefore, if we work hard, our salaries will be increased, and as the business continues improving, we'll be in a better position, and even in our financial situation will be better because our salaries might be increased. So a business plan acts as a motivating factor. Acts as a motivating factor. It motivates the workers factor. It motivates the workers to work hard towards achieving the objectives that are highlighted in that particular business plan. You know, when you start a business, there are strengths, there are weaknesses. For instance, you want to start a private high school. There are strengths that your private high school will have. Maybe some of the strengths are God may give you favor and have a number, numerous students coming to your school. Those are some strengths. But there are weaknesses. There are competitors. Competitors who are unethical. And we look at ethical issues in business and we see at fair play in competition. So there are such weaknesses that might appear that you have competitors which are playing unfairly in competition. And realize now you have some weaknesses in dealing with those competitors. How do you identify such strength that the business is going to have and weaknesses that the business is going to have? Identify them when drawing the business plan. Identifying strength and weaknesses. Identifying strength and weaknesses of the business. Weaknesses of the business. Weaknesses of the business. And finally, we have adaptability. Adaptability. Adaptability means that your business is going to adapt to changes that might appear in the near future. You are starting your private school right now, but it's not just going to run for 2 years or 3 years. It will run for even 20 years. Is it going to adapt to changes that might appear in the near future? Like now, there are some changes that are appearing in the education sector. We are moving from 844 to CBC. So is your private high school going to adapt to the changes that are going to be made when we adopt the CBC? For instance, the CBC will require that when you complete primary school in class 6, you need to go to Form 1 in the same school that you are running. So you have started a private high school. Do you have a private primary school that is going to be giving you students? You must consider such changes that might appear in the near future. So these are some of the needs of a business plan. These are some of the importance of a business plan. Now that you have drawn a business plan, all this importance, that means that your business is going to succeed if you follow all these plans, all these content that you have laid in the business plan. Now, my dear student, you have drawn a business plan. You have drawn a business plan. What is the next thing that you need to do? Now, after drawing the business plan, you just now start your business. But we must look at causes of business success, because in most cases, people will start businesses and businesses will fail. So there are causes. You want your business to succeed. These are the things that you need to do. Remember, my dear student, I'm not only teaching you as a student, but a future entrepreneur who want to start a business. So you need to know what are the causes of the business success. You want your business to succeed. What do you need to do? Causes of business success. Causes of business success. And as we continue, my dear student, continue sending your questions on the number that is in your screen. You can send your questions. I'm going to answer them after the lesson. You can also send your comment to that particular number that is on your screen. So some of the causes of business success is ability to manage people. Ability to manage people. So if you want your business to succeed, you must be able to manage people. You don't just start a business that you don't have adequate skills of management. You don't know how to deal with your employees. You have started a private high school and you are not managing your employees well. Your teachers, you are not motivating them. You are not paying them on time. You are even failing to pay your teachers. You don't have ability to manage people. Those teachers will make you not achieve the objective because they will just teach like that and your students are going to fail. So ability to manage people is one of the cause of business success. And how do you know that you have the ability to manage people? Management of people starts with one, training. Do you train your employees to acquire more adequate skills in running that particular business. 2, assigning duties. Do you give employees work? My dear student, my dear entrepreneur, do you give employee duties according to the skills that they have? Or you just assign duties to employees even without considering the skill? An employee who is good in distributing goods from your supermarket to other retailers, you give that employee the job of a teller. So you need to know how to assign duties to the employee. You must be a good supervisor. Supervision. What is supervision? You must supervise how your employees are doing their work. You don't just sit down, yes, you are now the director of the private school that you have started. You just allow them to teach. You are not supervising them. You are not looking at the schemes of work. You are not looking at the lesson plan and the record of work covered. You are not looking at what did they achieve. What is the performance of this particular subject? Then you are not a good manager. You must be a good supervisor. Supervision. The other one is motivation. Motivate your employees. If you want them to work hard, motivate your employees. An employee who is working very well, make sure that that particular employee, you increase their salary or even promote them. Take them for educational trip. They'll feel good. They'll feel at home, and they'll work towards achieving that objective. So these are some of the ways of how to have ability to manage people, how you can manage people and make sure that that ability to manage people is helping you to have a successful business. The other one is adequate finance. Adequate finance. Let me tell you, advise you, my dear students, never write this point as availability of finance. Availability of finance is always there. You cannot say that finance is not available. Even if you have 100, you have money. So avoid the point of saying availability of finance. Use the word adequate. Adequate means enough finance. You have enough money to run that particular business. Then the business is going to succeed. The other one is lack of comparison. Lack of competition. If you don't have competitors, you are monopoly, or you are the only one who is going to get customers from that business. Or maybe if you have competitors, the competition is not stiff. There is fair competition. If there is fair competition in the market or in the business is going to succeed. The other factor that may lead to business success is good public relation. Good public relation. How do you relate with the public? How do you relate with your customers? How do you relate with the employees? How do you relate with the people you are dealing with as the public? You must have good public relation. As the director of a private high school that you have started, how do you relate with the students? How do you relate with the parents? Or are you this director who a student is not able to pay school fees and you end up giving that student punishment or beating up that student to the level of even wanting to kill the student? And you know very well that the student cannot pay the school fees for himself or herself. So you must have good public relation. You talk with the parents very well. If the parents tells you that I'm going to pay the school fees after 1 month, consider them. Listen to them well. That is an example that I'm giving of a business that you are starting. Have good public relation, and you will see that the customers will overflow in your business, and the business is going to succeed. The other factor is proper location. Proper location. Where have you located your business? Do you consider the capital? Do you consider the customers? Do you consider the market? You don't just locate a business in an area where you don't have customers. Yes, you have the ability to start a business of selling pork, but do you start that business in an area where we have numerous of Muslims? No. You must consider proper location. You want to start a business, then you must consider that you are locating that business in an area where there are customers who are going to buy your product. So proper location is also another good importance thing to consider for you to have a successful business. Favorable government policy. Favorable government policy. Favorable government policy. The government influences businesses a lot. The government influences business a lot. So you must consider the policies of the government. Are you in the line of the policies that are given? If the government have policies that are favoring your business, then the business is going to succeed. But if the government has unfavorable policies, the business is going to fail. My dear students, these are some of the causes of business success. Consider them before you start the business. Consider that all these factors are in your mind before starting that business. Do you have ability to manage people? How do you manage your employees? Do you have enough finance to start that business? Yes or no? If yes, the business will succeed. Do you have competition? If there is competition, the business may fail. But if there is lack of competition, the business is going to succeed. Good public relation. If you want to start a business, you must be a person who talks well. But there are those people who, I don't know how they are created. They don't know even to talk well to their customers. So if you want to start a business and run a successful business, have good public relation. Relate well with the public. Proper location. Start and locate your business in an area where there are customers. Favorable government policy. Consider the government policy. If the government policies are favorable, the business is going to succeed. Now, in the inventor book or the other business studies book, we don't have causes of business failure. But in the exam, you'll be asked, what are the causes of business failure? Remember that you are an entrepreneur and you must be creative and innovative. What do you do when you are asked the causes of business failure, yet in your books, in your notes that your teacher gave is only causes of business success? Be creative and innovative. The business success is the opposite of business failure. So all these points, if you reciprocate them, or if you take the opposite of this point, you'll be able to come up with causes of business failure. Therefore, let us deal with that. Causes of business failure. Causes of business success, ability to manage people. Causes of business failure, poor management of people. You don't know how to manage people. You don't know how to assign duties, train them, supervise them, or even motivate your employees. Adequate finance. I told you and I advised you very well, my dear student, don't use lack of finance here. You cannot lack finance. Even if you have 200, you have finance. The only thing is that it is not enough. So, lack of enough finance. Enough finance. Or you can write this point as inadequate finance. So if you don't have enough money and the banks have failed to lend you money, then the business is going to fail because you cannot run a business without finance. The other one is stiff competition. Stiff competition. Stiff competition. Let us analyze them, then I'll explain. Poor public relation. Poor public relation. You don't relate well with the public. 5, poor location of business. Poor location. And 6, unfavorable government policy. So those are some of the causes of business failure. We have poor management of people. You don't know how to manage your employees. You don't know even how to talk to your employees. Now you are the boss and you think that you can do everything on your on your own. You don't know how to manage people. Lack of enough finance. You don't have enough money to start and run that particular business. Stiff competition. There is a lot of competition. Stiff competition, unfair competition. Imagine you have started your private school and there is another private high school in that particular area, and they have unfair competition to an extent of sending students from their school to beat students from your school. That is stiff competition. Then after that, they have beaten students from your school, then they go, because now this is a business that has been existing and they have money. Remember, an existing business have more finance than the starting one. So they now go to the police and say that it is your students, the new business, who have beaten their students. And it is you as the owner or the principal of that school had sent your student to beat them up. And then you are the owner of the new business, you are arrested and you sleep in cell. That business may end up failing if you don't become persistent. But if you are persistent, it will not fail. You just pray to God and God will help you up. Poor public relation. Poor public relation, you don't know how to relate with people. You don't know how to relate with the students. You are the director of the school. How do you relate with the student who has gotten a D minus? How do you just take a cane and beat them or chase them away? You must be, you have been in a position to know how to relate with those particular people. Poor location, you locate your business in a particular area where there are customers. Unfavorable government policies, the business may fail if you have unfavorable government policies. Then we deal with the factors influencing entrepreneurial practice. Factors influencing entrepreneurial practice. Factors influencing entrepreneurial practice. Factors influencing entrepreneurial practice. What are the factors that may influence the business that you are starting? One of the factors is government policy. Government policy. If we have favorable government policy, the business will succeed. If the government policy is unfavorable, then the business is going to fail. Favorable government policy will make the business to succeed, and favorable government policy will make the business to fail. The other factor is natural factors. Natural factors, these include the climate. If the climate is favoring your business, the business is going to succeed. Such are the natural factors. The other one is infrastructure. Infrastructure, in this case, we deal with the transport and communication network. If we have good roads, the business is going to succeed. Why? Because goods are going to be transported to the market well. So infrastructure is very important factor that may influence entrepreneurial practice. The other one is political stability. When there is political stability, the business is going to succeed because there are no issues of politics that are affecting the business. But if there is political instability, the business is going to fail. Like in 2007, many businesses failed because there was post-election violence and there was political instability. The other one is competition. Competition, as we have discussed, if there is stiff competition, the business is going to fail. If there is lack of competition, the business is going to succeed. So competition is also a factor that you need to consider. Another factor that you need to consider is availability of market. Do you have customers? If you have customers, the business is going to succeed. And finally, we have raw materials. Availability of raw materials. Those are some of the factors influencing entrepreneurial practice. So continue studying the questions and I'm going to answer them as we conclude. We are now concluding our lesson with the last subtopic, which is ethical issues in business. Ethical issues in business. So, ethical issues in business. What are ethical issues in business, or what are business ethics? Business ethics are principles that govern a business. These are principles that govern a business. You must be a principled business. You must be a principled person. You must have various principles that govern your particular business. So, why is it important to have business ethics? Because some businesses don't have ethics. So, we need to look at the need of business ethics. Need of business ethics. So we deal with this, and then I look at your questions. Need of business ethics. Business ethics is important to ensure there is no discrimination. Ensures no discrimination in business. Ensure no discrimination in business. So I will write them, then I discuss. The other one, ensures no pollution of the environment by the business. Of the environment. That is environmental pollution. Ensures no environmental pollution. Ensures rights of employees. Rights of employees are upheld. Are upheld. Ensures rights of employees are upheld. Ensures no consumer exploitation. Ensure no consumers exploitation. Ensures no consumer exploitation. And we have ensures fair play in business. In competition, sorry. Ensure fair play in competition. So if you have good principles, all these business ethics, one, you'll ensure no discrimination in business. You deal with all customers equally. Don't favor some customers, don't favor some people than others if you have business ethics. Ensure no environmental pollution. Where do you dispose your waste product? Or do you pollute the environment? Do you have a business where you are just exposing your waste product everywhere to pollute the environment? So you don't have ethics if you are such a kind of a business person. So with the business ethics, you ensure that there is no pollution of the environment. Ensures rights of the employees are upheld. You have teachers. You have a private high school you have started. If you have business ethics, you must pay your teachers on time. Some people will employ, for instance, you have a private high school, you will employ teachers and stay for more than 4 months without paying them. Then after that, you end up making sure that those teachers that you are employed, they suffer. You chase them away without paying them. And then you employ more teachers and pay them less salary. That is not good. You don't have business ethics. You don't have business ethics if you are such kind of an entrepreneur. Ensures no consumer exploitation. You don't exploit the consumers by selling them harmful products or expired products or offering poor services to consumers. Exploitation of consumers can be through selling of harmful products, selling of expired goods, and offering poor services, selling poor quality goods to the consumers. If you have business ethics, you cannot do such kind of a thing. ensures fair play in competition. If you have started your private school and another person has realized that there is a gap in the market because maybe the students in your private school are performing poorly, so there is a gap in the market, and that person starts another private school, do not attack that person by unfair play in competition, sending student to fight his or her students, and then making sure that he goes to sell. That is unfair play in competition. If you are a good entrepreneur who has business ethics, fair play in competition will be very important. Therefore, that brings us to the end of the topic of entrepreneurship. And now I'm going to answer the questions that you have sent in WhatsApp. So, types of business idea. Someone is asking types of business idea. We discussed them in the previous lesson. One, we have, that is sources of business idea. Basically, we have journals, we have newspapers, we have magazines, we have television, we have hobbies, and we have shows and exhibitions and talents. Those are some of the sources of business idea. I'm Frank. What if you don't have enough money to employ individuals? If you don't have enough money, I said, go to the bank and borrow some money. Having your business plan, you can borrow money from the bank. Make sure you have a business plan. Go to the financial institutions. They may lend you money. So if they don't lend you money, don't start the business because it may fail. Start a business if you have enough money. I'm Mike from Nakuru. My question is, what are ethical issues in business? Good. We have analyzed them. Need of business ethics. We have defined. He is asking what are ethical issues. Ethical issues are principles that govern a business, and we have seen the need of ethical issues. The next question, hello teacher, I'm Anne from Nyandarua. You are teaching very well. I am indeed understanding the topic. You are a good teacher. That is a good comment. Thank you. Please name me the business ideas. I've answered that question. I'm Shamin from Kibra. That is still asking on sources of business idea. Next question is, I'm Paul. Can ask, highlight the ethical practices expected of business in Kenya. That is the question we have answered here. Need of business ethics. Paul, we have answered that question. Wow, the lesson is moving smoothly. Thank you. What is entrepreneurship? I defined it as we began. It is the process of identifying a business opportunity and acquiring necessary resources to start and run a successful business. I'm John from Ikuma, and this is my question. How can you manage two businesses at a time? You can manage two businesses. This is a good question. You can manage two businesses at a time if you have good managers, because you cannot alone manage two businesses. You become the director, employ managers who are qualified to manage the business and who are loyal, that they cannot steal from you. You can manage two businesses at a time like that. The next question is, explain what is meant by the word stiff competition. I explained and I'll explain again. Stiff competition is a competition that is very high, such that if you try to get into the market, you may end up in a month without even selling something. There is stiff competition. There is a lot of people who are selling the same goods in that particular area. You want to start a business where there are 15 businesses that are running the same kind of businesses and selling the same types of goods. Then that is stiff competition, and the business may end up failing if it is like that. Hi teacher, it's Cynthia. The lesson is so good and I'm enjoying. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm Kelvin from Roiro. The lesson has been good. Thanks for your time. Thank you. I'm Amran from Maua, highlighting 4 ways in which a business idea may be implemented. Implementing a business idea, we dealt with that is the content of business idea. Once you have written such kind of a business idea, implementation is now starting the business following the business, following the content of the business plan that you had prepared. The other one is hello teacher, I'm Emmanuel from Narok. The question I want to ask is explain the acronym SWOT in relation to evaluation of business plan. SWOT means strength. S for strength, you consider the strength of the business as you evaluate the business. W is weaknesses. You consider the weaknesses that the business may have if you start it. O is opportunity. What is the opportunity that is going that is, what is the opportunity of having the business succeed? And T is threat. Threat, T is threat. That is the acronym in that particular area. Another question here is, hi teacher, thank you so much. God bless you. I have understood that. I'm Dorcas from Mombasa. Thank you, Dorcas from Mombasa. Explain business idea. Business idea, I said, it is a thought about a business that can be started. Dorcas, that is the meaning of business idea. A thought about a business that can be operated. Emmanuel from Ruai. I have a question. What is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is in a topic known as satisfaction of business, satisfaction of human wants, and I'll explain what opportunity cost is. Opportunity cost is the value of foregone alternative where the choice has been made. When do you come up with opportunity cost? Remember that resources are not enough. You don't have enough money to satisfy all your needs. You don't have enough money to satisfy all your needs. For instance, you want to buy a book which is worth 50 shillings. And you want to buy a brand which is worth 50 shillings. But you only have 50 shillings. So for you to satisfy both wants, you need to have 100 shillings. That means financial resource is not enough. So what do? You must make a choice. You must make a choice. You must make a choice of what to buy. What do you buy first, my dear student? Considering basic wants, do you buy a book or a bread? What is more basic? Is it education or is it eating? Eating is more basic. Remember that food is a basic want. So what you need to do, you forego buying the book. You can live without books. You can live without books and succeed. But you cannot live without food. So what you'll do, with your 50 shillings, you will buy the bread. With your 50 shillings, you will buy the bread. So if you buy the bread, you have made a choice. If you buy a bread, you have made a choice of buying the bread. The value of the book is what we call opportunity cost. The value of foregone alternative, the one that you have failed to buy, where the choice has been made after making the choice of buying the other one that you have bought. So, thank you very much. Functions of entrepreneur, Caro from Roiro. Functions of an entrepreneur, that person controls the business, manages the business, starts the business, and pays all the other factors of production. He also acquires capital for the business. Thank you very much, my dear students. I call you my dear entrepreneurs because you are not only students, you are entrepreneurs. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for being with me. And thank you for your questions and your comments. I hope you well, even as you prepare so that you can achieve your objective in KCSE, and not only in KCSE, but also in starting and running successful businesses. Thank you very much. My name is Teacher Kelvin Wanyabura from Gons Children High School. God bless you abundantly, and remember to pray before you do anything. Thank you.